I'm sure you guys have heard this before. Like when the Vikings would go invade a land, they would burn their boats because there's no going back. There's no plan B. That's how I've always kind of looked at it. Like since we've been writing, like I've never wanted to go back, never thought this would work out. It's like whatever it takes.
Yeah, how about burn your bridge? Well, set the bridge on fire, not burn bridges, right? Set the bridge on fire and then run across. We need a greater sense of urgency on the massive action.
Welcome to the Our Family Invest podcast, where we explore what happens when family, purpose, and entrepreneurship align. I'm Mike, a former Maui firefighter who reached financial freedom in just 5 years through real estate investing.
And I'm Caroline, a Maui-based realtor here to educate, empower, and elevate my clients to make smart real estate moves, whether right here at home or through my nationwide network.
Together, we're chasing our full potential as individuals, as a couple, and as a family. We're here to build a life that matters. And each week we share the stories of couples who inspire us to love harder, dream bigger, and grow bolder. So join us and let's learn, share, and grow together.
All right, guys, if you are joining us today and you're watching this episode, you may notice that we look a little bit different. And that's because we're actually recording on Halloween. So if I look a little bit more like Stitch and Caroline looks a little bit more like Lilo, and we've got a Spartan and we got crazy characters on the other side of the video, you'll know why. Okay, it's Halloween. But today we are sitting down with Jynafer and Jynafer Yanez, a husband and wife team who turned storytelling into a career. Now, Jynafer is a best-selling author who wakes up at 5 a.m. every day and writes 1,000 words, 6 days a week like clockwork. Jynafer is the CEO and producer behind Archimedes Books, their publishing house, and Wolfpack Entertainment, their film production company. Together, they've published dozens of books, produced an award-winning film, and built 2 creative businesses, all while homeschooling their 2 kids. Now, they've structured their entire life around shared values, faith, and a belief that storytelling can change lives. All right, you guys, I am really excited to dive into this today. But before we do that, Jynafer, if I asked you to describe Jynafer without mentioning anything that he's built or accomplished, just who he is as a person, what would you say? And then Jynafer, maybe you can turn the tables and tell us about Jynafer. No titles, no resumes, just who she really is.
So I will preface this by saying that this is his dream. He always asks when we go and speak on stages or podcasts, like, could we introduce each other? And then I always say, no, it's just weird, but now it's perfect. So, I would say that he is steadfast, faithful, consistent, and loyal. And that comes across in his relationships and in the way he works and in the way he puts himself into anything. He's also like very fit in terms of like prioritizing that strength. And he is always giving when we need to use that for our family. So like carrying the load, building the things or any of that stuff. So that makes him just like such a good foundation and uplifter for our family.
Amazing.
I love that.
My turn.
Jonathan, you look very stoic there.
Yes, I'll tell you a little story that like envelop who Jynafer is. So when we go to a conference, and this has happened at least twice before, we'll get there, hopefully like on time or a little bit early, find seats. And as the conference goes on, the seats will fill. And then there'll be people coming in who don't have somewhere to sit. So I'm the type of person like, well, that person should have planned ahead. Should have came sooner. There's not chairs left, but you should have come sooner. Maybe next time. You come a few minutes early, find a seat. Jynafer is the type of person who will offer that person their seat, or she'll get up and try to go find extra chairs, like who's in charge, do they know where the extra chairs are, and then help them set up extra chairs for other people.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so you both tell stories, write stories. I want to know a little bit about your story before we jump into the cool things that you do. So how did you 2 first meet, and what was your first date like?
We met through mutual friends, like a friend of a friend kind of thing. Some of my old roommates, he knew some people that knew them. But the interesting part about that is that it turns out our worlds were overlapping for a couple of years, or at least a good year, where we were at the same place at the same time, but never knew it. And that included the fact that we'd gone to the same birthday party with different groups of people, but for the same birthday person. And he's in the background of my pictures from that night. but we didn't meet that night. And so
like that super famous picture of Bigfoot walking through the forest, or like it's grainy in the distance, but you're like, I think that's an ape man. Is that an ape man? Like, no, it's Jonathan back at Jen's picture.
Back when we had the digital cameras before, yes. And so it was just like such a weird thing, and also like a God thing that like we had to actually meet when it was time and when we were ready. And I think that if we had met sooner and actually crossed paths in one of those 7 times, like it may not have been the right time and we wouldn't have all of this. And it took a car accident for us to actually be the same place, like together. He worked at Enterprise and I had a car accident, as what it turned out on my way to a different birthday party being held with him and his roommates. And so he was the one, my Enterprise car driver, who like, we'll pick you up. He took me to go get my rental car and get my car back.
Wow. And then you saw him at the same birthday party?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So I didn't see him at the birthday parties. I didn't see him until like, because I didn't make it to that birthday party until late, and he'd already left. Like later, it was like dinner and then hang out. And by the time I made it after the accident, he had moved on with his day, and I got there late. So I didn't meet him until he was like, my car had been fixed. So like weeks later.
Have you guys ever hunted a serial killer before? When
Twice.
you're like building the board and you get the red string and you're like the faces and this person was here. So Jen and I have done that for as many times as we've been like in the same location with different people, but didn't know. And there were 7 times that we were like at the same event or at the same location. We didn't know each other yet.
That's so weird, because it's not like you're in a small town. You're in Orange County.
Yeah.
Right?
We're talking
massive.
Across from the top of the 55 to the bottom of the 55 freeway, in between, everywhere, like multiple places in between, in completely different settings. It's not like, 7 times we're at the same church service sitting on different sides. We're like a restaurant on the same night of the week with our friends, like our habitual hangouts, our haunts, you can call them, and even random places. And so it was just the way things worked out. But we also knew, like on the first date when we finally did go out, like, oh boy, we're in trouble. This is pretty real.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's super cool. So how did you finally connect at the same place, same time, or you were back at Enterprise? Happy hour.
Yeah, it was happy hour. It was just like friends happy hour. He showed up with different friends and we started talking, and he asked me out and I said no. and then I finally responded and was like, hey, yeah, we could go out. And he tried to play coy, like, oh, who is this? I don't remember who this is. We both had a lot of ego to outgrow. But I'm glad that we got out of our own ways, so that way we can go out. Because what did we do that first night?
I went to go play video games. I think we had sushi and then went to go play video games.
At Dave & Buster's.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was like super low-key, super mellow. Yeah. Just hanging out and getting to know each other better.
Oh, that's fun. That's
Yeah.
cool. All right. So I would love to go more into that, but I'm so curious about your businesses. So can we like peel back the curtain on that and like tell us what you do in your businesses and how they both operate?
Go ahead.
So I started writing novels about almost 14 years ago. I think we're like right in between 13 and 14 years. Science fiction and fantasy probably is the most prevalent, but I've done thrillers as well. So on the sci-fi side, it's kind of like a Total Recall, Jason Bourne, but in the near future. And on the fantasy side, our series is called Hunters for Hire. So think Joey from Friends, right? Male model, like aspiring, heart of gold, not the sharpest tool in the shed, trying to make ends meet, and he finds out that monsters are real and the government pays bounties on these monsters. So there he goes, like bumbling his way through trying to pay rent and figuring out how to, trap these like vampires and chimeras and stuff like that. Wow. So it's just been, just year over year, we've been growing. Like, have you guys ever seen Field of Dreams?
Love that movie.
Yes.
So that saying, if you build it, they will come. Mm-hmm. So that's just been proven true, right? Like year 1, I was asking my sisters if they would leave reviews on my books because there was no mailing list. There was no platform. But now year over year, we've just been building, staying the course. Now we've sold over 1 million copies. There's like signing events and big agents that we signed with on the book side. It's just been, God's blessed us, and it's just been building year over year.
Amazing.
And
So-
so niche too.
Yes. Yes, very much so. And we've done multiple paths. So he would be what is considered in the industry like a hybrid author, because he started out with the traditional publishing deal, and then we did independent. Then we went ahead and became a small publisher, created our own imprint, and we've published a few other authors as well. And then he has a new New York deal signed with his book scheduled to release in Q1 of 2026. And so,
Congratulations.
thank you. So we've got both of those, and somewhere in there, we realized like, hey, this storytelling business is fun, but we'd like to have more content that we could enjoy, because, I mean, based on our first date, like, we love the nerddom. We love games and TV shows and things of that nature. And it's so good when you have something that has as much high octane or excitement as it does heart and purpose. And so we felt a desire to see more of that. And so, I mean, we're in Southern California. Depending on the traffic, we're a hop, skip, and a jumping away from Los Angeles. And so we have some other friends and associates in the movie making space and filmmaking. And so we started down that path in early 2020 and had some scripts written, had some connections with producers, and had meetings scheduled with decision makers, or at least, first rung decision makers in Hollywood when everything was shut down. Like the Tuesday when things went into shelter in place lockdown, we had to reschedule a meeting, and then we tabled it, and then we all know how that went. So all of that kind of was left in the air, but unfortunately we really liked this idea and got like the bug. And so went ahead and figured out Jonathan's favorite and most dangerous question. What is your question?
Oh yeah. How hard could it be? Usually it ends up being way harder than you think, but you're already like in it. You have momentum and you're like seeing it through. But our fans, like the readers who follow us, kept on asking for film adaptations. Like, when are we going to get a TV show? When are we going to get a movie from these books? So I told them, if you're looking for the voice of sanity, you've come to the wrong place. If you guys kickstart the money, if you give us money to make a film, we'll start making films for you. So they said, okay, let's do it. So for the first film that we did, they kickstarted just over 60 grand to do a pilot episode. Like, okay, with 60 grand, I don't think we could do a full length movie really well, but we could do a pilot episode really well. And that was kind of like our first dive into the filmmaking arena. And then since then, we've had like multiple offers. That film went on to win a bunch of awards. It has, I think, almost 400,000 views right now on YouTube. So It's called Infinity System, if you guys want to check it out.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's super cool. And I know, like, I've written a few nonfiction books, and I've always wanted to do something more creative, but I feel like it must be extremely difficult, especially for you who are building like, fantastical worlds where, things that don't actually exist. How do you keep all the details straight, the characters straight, all that kind of stuff? How much research do you actually put into developing the plot and the landscape?
So I actually try to do zero research if I can get away with it. I'm just like rolling. We're high on caffeine. AC/DC is like pumping in the background at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just going. So a lot of times I don't outline it all. I'll just have like an idea of where the story is going. And I forget who said it. An author much smarter than I said this. He said his characters are his best friends. So if you know how your best friend would react in a certain situation, then you can put your characters in any situation. Like Joey from Friends, I'll use them again, right? We could put Joey from Friends in any situation. We'll have an idea of like how his character is going to react to different situations. So the same thing. And that, I think over the years that I've been writing, because I've written just over 70 novels, it's been easy to continue that because it's just as fun for me to follow their adventure because I don't know what's going to happen. Like these characters are like, like hunting vampires, and then they're ambushed, and then there's a double cross, and then this person got bitten. And it's like the not knowing excites me.
do your characters continue on from one story to another?
Yeah, so early on, we realized with novels, the best thing that you can do is write a series, right? Because you can invest in advertising or marketing that book one, and then you can earn back your money if the readers go to book 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. So Hunters for Hire right now is 6 books, and I'm working on number 7.
Wow, incredible.
And do you foresee the next book already while you're finishing at book 7?
Yes. Like I can start thinking of like, oh, I like this idea. Everybody asks me all the time, like, where do ideas come from? So a perfect example is the kids are reading the original Pinocchio right now for school. Have you guys ever read the original Pinocchio?
No.
It is bananas, guys. Treat yourself and listen to the original Pinocchio. It is nothing like what we think it is. It's not like, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, listen to it. You're going to be surprised. It's crazy. So just listening to that Pinocchio, I'm like, oh, this is such a good idea for Pinocchio's character to pop up in Hunters for Hire. Because I'm already doing like the supernatural and stuff like that. So that's an idea like, oh, that's a character I'm going to use in my next book. And that's how kind of like characters start developing and start talking to me.
Do you ever find people around you kind of develop some of the characteristics, or maybe some of the characters in your books are based off of people that you know or qualities that they have?
Oh, yeah. She's standing right next to me. She's dressed as Lord of the Rings Ranger. So, yeah, for sure. Like a lot of times. So he's 5 now, so he's speaking a lot better. But early on, right, he sounded kind of like,
our son.
Yeah, our son kind of sounded like an alien creature from another planet. And he's talking gibberish, right? He knows what he's saying, but he's like Chewbacca from Star Wars. Chewbacca knows what he's saying. We don't understand what he's saying. Yeah. So like that's kind of like an idea for a character that came to me. Like, oh, what happened to a character like that? Super funny. We're just like Han Solo, like one person understands what he's saying, but to everybody else, it just sounds like, minion speak.
Wow. So, okay. So you have the publishing arm and then you have the production arm, right? Yeah. How hard is it to go from the publishing where you've got, all these characters, all these thoughts, what you can put on paper is whatever you want, but then what you can actually produce in film must be way more difficult. Right. So how do you balance that?
Yeah. So it's fun. It's because you're kind of constrained. So that adds in an extra level of difficulty. So it's kind of like fun. So I'll give you an example too. So for our very first film, I wrote a night scene, right? There was somebody digging a hole in the desert at night. And the main character like goes and sees it, right? Bunch of questions. Who is this? What are they digging up? Why are they digging at night? And we talked to the director and the director's like, hey, it's going to blow the budget because you can't have a film team filming all day and all night. So for that one night shot, if we really needed it, it would add on a whole nother day of filming. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that, right? It was our first film. So I was like, oh, I had no idea. So that forced me then to put that same idea and kind of like what I was doing with the story into a dream sequence, right? And the dream sequence could be filmed during the day. So we didn't have to add on another day to production. So there definitely are constraints. But I see that as like a fun opportunity to grow. Kind of like working out. Like, do you want to lift 5 pounds or do you want to go lift 10 pounds? If you're sick in the head like I am, I want to go lift 20 pounds.
Okay. So do you ever have creative conflict between the two of you, or do you just allow Jonathan to be more of the creative and you're the executor?
Yeah, it's really, really strange. We never have an issue with that truly crossing paths because there's so much to do with everything. There's also a limit, like, is this going to make the boats go faster? Is this going to increase it? Like, are we having diminishing returns, or is this like, how much is this helping the product or the project? And that's pretty much like where it goes. And then who's going to be responsible for executing it? So if he's got an idea, like we're thinking of a new merch line and I've got some ideas, like, it's not about opinion. It's about what do the fans, the readers want? What's going to serve them best? And then whoever's in charge, like, what can they execute? And then if someone is like, fight on the hill for this, are you willing to kill on the hill for this? Great. Then you can take it and execute it if it's that important to you, so that's kind of where it goes. So like the only time there's ever any, and I wouldn't even call it pushback because there's not a friction in it, is like I do the film budgets. I can break down the scripts and figure things out, and I'll be like, hey, you had 18 different cars and you wrecked half of them in this script proposal. Like, can you
Scale
cut
it
some,
back.
like, maybe instead of an entire motorcycle gang, could we get like a couple guys on like street motors, like bikes, not like Harleys? Or I don't know, like, how about this hero doesn't steal 5 cars, they just like take one? It's not Grand Theft Auto. Like, how do we streamline this from a budget perspective? Or hey, we have this actor, if we were to propose them being here for this many days, but then you have like this half scene in this location, rather than set up and move, like, can we, would it make sense to go here? And he's like, and then that goes back to the earlier question, like, the constraint is just a fun challenge, and how do I work through this? But book content, that's his all day. That's his realm, because like, he knows what he's doing a lot more than what he's done. So
yeah. So when you're creating something like the movie side, or the production, the video production, are you adapting your books to that, or are you writing directly for screen? Because I imagine that if you write directly for screen, it becomes easier because you know the challenges involved.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of which project to talk about. So the first project that I did, so for the first project we did, Infinity System, it was a new story idea. So it didn't exist in a book before. So that was easier. It's easier to do stories for me that are brand new, because otherwise I'm like trying to work inside another box, right? Of like, oh, what I can't do to the story. And then we did Forsaken Mercenary. It's this poster right here behind us. Our next movie was Forsaken Mercenary, and Forsaken Mercenary was based off of a book. So Forsaken Mercenary, I was more constrained, being like, I want to be true to the readers and the fans who already love this. What can I give them that would make sense for the budget, and that we could also make sense for just the fandom?
Yeah, it's a 12-book series with a couple of short stories, and so it was, what part of the story makes sense, and then how do we adapt that to film, because it is futuristic. It does take place on the moon. There's supposed to be all these spaceships and epic fight scenes. So you like pared down the fight scene invasion part a little bit, like, sort of, it didn't take away from the story, because you have like this big invasion, but it's really centered on like a few characters. So we just like honed in for the filming, the scope on those characters, and then did that fight sequence really, really well to like still pay off that emotional touch point in terms of storytelling.
Wow. So this makes me think of a lot of things, but one of them is, I remember when I was in 7th grade, this is 1991, right? Metallica's Black Album came out, and I was a huge metal fan at that time. And I remember listening to it and thinking, this feels like a gut punch. I hated it. Not that because it wasn't good. It was because it was a completely different direction. And I completely understood. I knew that Enter Sandman was going to sell records, that Unforgiven was going to sell records, that Nothing Else Matters was going to sell records. But they're no longer being the master of puppets, the Ride the Lightning, the vehicle that took them to where they were going was different than what they were on now. Does that make sense? And so my question is, how do you balance being creative with how to make money, right? Because you're in such a niche market, it would be so easy for you to kind of go and do something more the Jason Bourne style than the Total Recall style that has a bigger, wider audience. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to take this one, or do you want to answer?
No, you're the writer.
So I agree with you. Yeah. So there are opportunities. What has helped me is I write quickly. So I can usually when we first started, I was writing a novel a month, just because like nobody knew who I was. There was no platform, nothing, right? So I needed to provide content to start building that base. So now fast forward, 13, 14 years later, I just need to do 2 books a year. I can do 2 books a year and we could be totally fine, right? So now that I know where my strengths are, I could write quickly. I've actually done both. So I have done Forsaken Mercenary, which is like Total Recall. But as we enter Hollywood, we're hearing more and more like they want the Jason Bournes, they want the thrillers, they want the John Wicks. Mm-hmm. So we've got approached by someone, I don't believe in name dropping, but I'll tell you guys afterwards if you want. But we got approached by someone who wanted to make a film with us, and he asked me exactly what you did. He's like, Jonathan, he's like, this sci-fi script with all the CGI, he's like, this is like Dune. It's going to cost $100 million to make. He said, give me something that I can make for 15 million. He's like, can you write me John Wick? And I was like, yep, I got you. And I honestly feel like that's within my wheelhouse too, because it's all character driven. I write character first. Mm-hmm. So Jason Bourne, right? No memory. You feel for him. He's trying to do the right thing. John Wick does have the memory of his wife, but you feel for him too. He lost his wife and now he lost his dog. So it's all about emotion and characters. So I could pull that vein, I think, through any genre that I write. Supernatural, sci-fi, thriller. It's all about the character first.
How about period pieces?
Oh, I haven't done that yet. Period pieces. Like if I was going to write like something like...
How about, I don't know, 1970s?
Oh, she's talking about another project that I got hired to write. So now that we've starting to establish ourselves in the film world, other directors and producers are starting to reach out asking if I could write their scripts for TV shows and movies. So one of them is a period piece. And that one has been a fun challenge for me. Because usually it's just right. I don't outline. I'm just like, we're just going. Yeah, we're just going. So now that has like stretched me in ways, writing a true life story of something that happened to someone. Have to be super vague. Something happened to someone in the 1970s.
Yeah. And would you take on projects like that again, knowing that you have more constraint on the period?
Yes, it is definitely difficult. I think right now, as I'm getting because we've only been doing film for 4 years now. 4.5 years.
But yeah.
We've only had things out for maybe 3 years
when
Infinity System came out. So now as I'm getting my foot in the door, I'm trying to say yes as much as possible. There are definitely things that are not in my wheelhouse. Like if you wanted straight romance, I'm probably not your guy. If you wanted straight horror, I'm probably not your guy. But outside of that, I could do action, adventure, thrillers, supernatural, that kind of stuff. So I think now I'm still in the period where I'm saying yes and building that portfolio. But I could see in the future, right? 10 years from now, I'm probably just making those projects that I want to make.
Yeah, but I think I'd like to share one of the things that has helped us building our fan base, our reader base, is being true to who we say we are or what we're about. And that means sometimes saying no to certain things. Hey, we're not knocking it, but that's not us, right? High octane, heart, and hope. That's where we live. And so that's who we attract in terms of our readers and our consumers of content. And if it's too angsty, it's not for us. If there's certain things in there that don't align with our values, again, we're not going to knock it. We're just going to say it's not for us, wish you all the best. And we've had to say no or pass on opportunities. And that's one of the things I was saying earlier is is this going to make the boat go faster? There's so many wonderful opportunities, a lot of podcast invitations and different things. And we just have to be intentional with our time, because every time we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else. And as you pointed out in the intro, we homeschool our kids. We are very weirdos, aside from just having these costumes hanging out. 24/7, our family's together. We homeschool, we work together, we're in our home. And it was really hard for a lot of people in 2020. And we were like, this is normal. Everybody's just hanging out. We're just here. If we are going to go to conferences, if we're going to go to speaking events, if we're going to go to film festivals, that's time away from our children. So we get to be together, but that's also time away from we love what we do. I know it could be hard for some people. We love the work that we do. We went on vacation earlier this year for an extended period of time, and we were both jonesing for, can I get any internet? I need to do some numbers. Oh, how are the ads looking? I'm do some now. So you're getting words in. It's just something that you love what you do. You're intentional about what you do it. And then having the wisdom of when to say no. It's WOMO, the wisdom of missing out.
Hey family, real quick, if you'd rather watch your content, head over to Our Family Invests on YouTube. You'll find this episode and all our episodes over there. Don't forget to subscribe, and share your takeaways in the comments. Now, back to the show.
Yeah.
I love how aligned you are, and I can already see that your brains are wired differently, and you're such a compatible pair because of the way that you're talking about what each other does and each other's roles. It's really cool to hear and see. Was there ever a moment that both of you wanted to quit? And if so, what kept you going?
Did you ever want to quit? No, there's no quitting you.
Never. Like, I'm sure you guys have heard this before. Like when the Vikings would go invade a land, they would burn their boats because there's no going back. There's no plan B. That's how I've always kind of looked at it. Like since we've been writing, like I've never wanted to go back, never thought this wouldn't work out. It's like whatever it takes.
Yeah, how about burn your bridge?
Yeah.
Like, we'll set the bridge on fire, not burn bridges, right?
Yeah.
That was the new one he heard, and he's like, I like this even more. Set the bridge on fire and then run across.
You can't go back. Yeah. You gotta go fast.
A greater sense of urgency on the massive action.
Yes.
I like that. So, all right. I imagine I'm so fascinated by how you're able to produce a novel a month. That's just absurd, right? But how do you stay disciplined to write 1,000 words a day, especially when I imagine writer's block is probably a real thing, right?
No.
Like, She says no. She says no.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Don't give me too much credit. So definitely early on, maybe for like the first 6 years or something like that, I was doing a novel a month. But now as our platform has grown and our business has, now we're doing we have audiobooks, merchandise, comic books, films now and stuff like that. So now I'm only doing like two novels a year. Three maybe. So it wasn't like, all the way through for like the past 13 years I've done a novel a month. But it wasn't 1,000 words a day. I write 4,000 words a day.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't work on Sundays. I take Sundays off, but I work Monday through Saturday. And the way that I found that really helps is breaking it up, right? Because if I try to sit down and write 4,000 words in one sitting, it'd be too much. My brain would just turn into oatmeal. So what I've learned is just to do 1,000. I can get 1,000 words in about 20 to 30 minutes. We'll say 30 minutes. So I sit down, do 1,000 words, but then I give myself a break. Scroll if I want to scroll, check social media, play with the kids, grab some coffee. But then I come down and I call them sprints. I do another sprint. So if you're doing it that way, I only need 4 sprints a day to get 4,000 words. And then that's only, they're each half hour, it's only 2 actual hours out of the day that I'm writing.
That's all you work?
That's all I work. I'm goofing off. So when you start breaking it down like that, so if you can do that 6 days a week, that's 24,000 words a week. So that way it would be easier to write a book a month if you're doing 24,000 words a week.
How are you editing those and going through them? Because for me, once I'm doing a project, not writing, but I want to set it and forget it. And I don't want to go back and I don't want to redo anything.
Yeah.
So you're not a writer.
Yeah.
I'll teach you some tricks that I learned from Stephen King. So Stephen King said, your subconscious is like a very real thing that works for you, can work for you. So at night when I'm going to bed, I'm thinking about what I'm going to write the next day. So that when I wake up and I start writing, it's there. Like I know I can see it in my brain. I just have to write out what's already I can see in my mind.
Wow.
So write it out. And then also when you're writing that first draft, don't go back and edit. Don't stop yourself. Like I write in Microsoft Word, so I can tell when I misspelled a word because it has that red squiggly line. The worst thing that you could do is stop your flow, go back and try to edit and make everything correct. You just need to get that first pass out. Like professional athletes are really good about talking about being in the the flow state or like a focused state. So in writing, it's the same thing. You want to stay in that flow state just to get the words out. Because after you finish the novel, there's going to be plenty of revisions that have to happen. You have to do your own editing pass. Then it goes to an actual editor. Then you do another editing pass of your own. Then it goes to beta readers who are going to tell you if you guys missed anything. Then there's another pass you have to do. So for that first one, just give yourself some grace and some permission just to get the story out.
Wow. Yeah. I see a recurring theme here. You go fast and you go hard, but it sounds like you're not the overnight success. You've been doing this for 13, 14 years, right? So if somebody's listening here and is really interested in becoming a writer, what kind of advice would you give them to start right now?
Oh, definitely don't stop. Like, I used to be a personal trainer. So in between enterprise, while I was writing, right, no money was coming in while I was first time writer. So I got a job as a personal trainer at a gym. So I was doing that full time while I wrote full time. So, like in personal training, everybody's going to start off differently. You're going to start off like, different starting points. So I remember working with a client and we were just trying to get her to get 10 push-ups in. So we started off on her knees. She can do like 2 or 3, and then we just gradually built until eventually she could do 10 full regular push-ups, not on her knees, just on her feet and hands, right? And those push-ups didn't get any easier. She just got stronger. So I tell writers, like, no matter where you start, you just got to start somewhere. So don't say like you need to start writing 4,000 words a day. Maybe you need to write 100 words a day. Maybe that's where you're at. But over time, with consistency and discipline, you'll start seeing that writing muscle get stronger and stronger. And then you can build on that. Then you could do 500 words a day. Then maybe you could do 1,000 words a day. So just like start off wherever you're at, and you will get stronger as long as you don't give up.
Is there any myth that you would want to bust for building a creative business?
Oh, it goes with probably any business. Like, somehow creativity seems more sensitive and like precious because you're putting part of yourself out there, as they say. But like, everybody's putting part of themselves out there. It's different. Like, even his analogy for like writer's block is like, why isn't there such thing as like plumber's block? Right? There is a process to these things. And for a plumber, they might go to a trade school for it. But for a writer or an artist, like, you're also putting in reps of a different sort to put out there. And if it's something you want to share to enliven or enrich or enhance the world around you, like, it's letting it go. And the more like, Mike, and you probably have heard this, is like you're attached to the action, but you're detached from the outcome. Right? So if not, then you're just looking for validation. And maybe that's not like a business thing. That's like a different kind of personal thing. And those become two separate endeavors. So like, I guess for me, that would be a myth, is like, we don't have to be precious with our content. And yes, there will be haters. Okay. There are going to be people that don't necessarily hate. It's just not for them. That's great. Are we talking about like massive art, or are you trying to serve your niche and your specific audience? Like, Jonathan has gotten rather immune, I would say, to like the 1-star reviews or the whatever. Like, what was the video you said? It was a little girl and a puppy, and even that had 1 thumbs down.
Oh yeah. So like a lot of people, I get asked by a lot of writers, like, how do you deal with all like, the negative reviews or the negative comments? I'm like, listen guys, sit down. It's story time. Once upon a time, there was a YouTube video that went viral, and it was this chunky little baby who was just laughing so full of pure joy. And the little baby was laughing with the puppy. It was one of those like chunky puppies with all the wrinkles, and they're playing. Like, who doesn't love that? Just me thinking about it, I want to smile. A little baby playing with a little fat puppy. And guess what? For as many like millions of like likes there was on YouTube, there was like 7 people who downvoted it. So I'm like, if the little baby, this adorable little like cute thing, can't win with everybody, I have no shot. I've got no shot of making everybody happy. There's going to be people who hate. People hate babies and puppies. What shot do I have that everybody's going to like it? So just accept it. It comes with the territory.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
good reminder. And I'm going to see that baby and that wrinkled puppy the rest of the day.
I'm sure that I've seen that video because I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Who doesn't like that? Right?
Somebody.
Man. All right. So you guys are not just business partners. You're raising your family together. You mentioned that, COVID was just kind of normal for you guys because you're homeschooling your kids. How do you do all the things at once? How do you keep a strong marriage? How do you raise your kids with intention? And how do you build an empire without burning out?
I think that's the key word there, is intention. As God knew exactly as we needed to be, we're both very leader driven and intrinsically motivated. One of our favorite things to do in the beginning and even now is read our own like development books or podcasts or things like that. And then we discuss it. It's like our own little book club, very unofficial. We have a drive coming up. We take this drive once a year to Vegas, and we always pick out like a book. And I think last year it was 4 agreements. And so this year it'll be another one of those great books that just kind of like gets your mind right. And for us, like faith is like our faith and our foundation in God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, like driving us, takes it all the ego out, or helps, right? Because that's a daily cross to bear. But when we do that and we think about the intention that we have with it, then like we are beholden as stewards of our children, over our gifts, over our time, all of that, to not be frivolous, because tomorrow is promised to no one. And so with that, like that goes back to, again, Jonathan being that foundation of like steadfastness, because he's like, this is what it is. If you want to homeschool the kids, like this is the structure we're going to have. And I'm like, yes, let's do it. So we have a pretty strict routine and really like clear boundary markers. So he's up at 5 a.m. and he works from 5 a.m. to about 12 to 1 p.m. And in that time, that's when I make sure like we get our lessons done and all that with the kids. And then we'll have lunch together. And then from then until dinner time, that's my time to work and work out. And then after 5, that's when we start dinner. We have dinner. We get ready for bed. We have family time. 7 o'clock is the kids' bedtime. That doesn't change. And then we get up and we start it all again the next day. And we continue that. Like every day is Saturday except for Sunday. So we have plenty of time to have fun and play. But what he calls it, for the kids, and let you talk about it, like when they want to have screen time and do these extra fun things, like they pay the man.
Oh, yeah. We came up with this idea to pay the man. I forget what I was watching, but it was like some sort of like special military operators training celebrities or something like that. So they call it paying the man. So paying the man means you got to do 3 things before you get any sort of screen time. And those 3 things could be like laundry, dishes, go outside and play. We have 2 dogs. Go outside and play with the dogs, reading. They're both in karate. So it could be like practicing karate. But you do 3 things to pay the man. And then you can enjoy some screen time. Hang out. We could watch, Avatar, The Last Airbender, something like that. And then after screen time, then it's time to pay the man again if you want more screen time. And then there's freedom if they'd rather not pay the man because they don't want to watch screen time. They could do crafts or activities or just like regular playtime. But if you want any sort of screen time, it's time to pay.
I like that.
I like that too.
What are you intentionally trying to teach your kids, aside from risk and reward, in building your businesses together? Because they see it. They're around you all the time.
Just about like nobody gets to tell you what you can or cannot do, like you're capable of. And that was one thing when people were like, oh, you write 12 books a year, like you're going to burn out. Oh, you're writing 6 days a week, you're going to burn out. Oh, you're at an ad agency. Oh, you're the breadwinner. You can't do that. Like it's going to cause problems with you and your husband or any of those things. And it's not like a watch me kind of thing. It's like, maybe we'll find out. Like there's only one way to find out. And so that is, obviously that would be one, like, those limitations are not meant for you, right? You have to find the boundaries of your limitations. What was like another one you would think?
So early on, our daughter, I think she might have been like 6 or 7, something like that. But we have like a play set outside. So she was on top of the play set. I'm watching her, make sure she's okay. But she was telling me like, I need help to get down. And she got up fine. And I knew she could get down. So I told her, I'm like, hey, I have good news and I have bad news for you. The bad news is no help is coming for you. Nobody's going to help you get down. The good news is I know you could do this yourself. And she thought about it for a while and then she climbed down. So we're trying to teach them that they're capable of way more than they think they're capable of. They don't need anybody to give them permission to go do whatever they're going to do in life. They don't need to wait for a savior or a white knight. They can be their own hero.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that too.
Those are great foundational skills. Do you ever involve your kids in your books or your movies or productions?
Yep. The first film, our daughter helped me because I did all the wardrobe. So it was like a sci-fi Western. So we were in there together and just putting her, like not putting her to work because that almost sounds like a negative connotation to it, but it was like letting her be involved in the process and like having ownership over these things and involving her. Because, learning to let go of control, but also like and create space for her to be into that. And then with the books, even now, the kids have like assigned tasks. Actually, being part of the elite group, you guys probably appreciate this. She has stepped in as Jonathan's first line of defense for email as the EA.
Amazing.
Using synonym.
And she's 9.
Yeah, pseudonym. There you go. Thank you. She's 9. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so she'll do that. They help with the books. We've got like 600 books that just came in this week, so they had to be organized and signed and getting ready for like the next rounds of shipment. So our son will help with that and carry what he can and help organize and take inventory. So is there, what else do they do? I don't know. That's a lot.
Love
Yeah,
it.
and then like even when we were filming our last movie, Forsaken Mercenary, they got to come to set, and then our daughter was hanging out with like the makeup crew and like getting to know what they do. And then our son was hanging out with the main actor. And it was fun. It was fun just like hanging out and being able to see them in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you're building an aligned family, right? Like that is something that we really, really love. And we try and encourage everyone to have it, is have alignment within your family. And so you're building towards this freedom, this purpose where you're building that life that you don't want a vacation from. Right. And it sounds like you are on that path. You've got that all dialed in. One thing I'm curious about, though, is what does a date night look like for you guys? Like, do you go out to the movies? And if so, are you like critiquing the movies all the time? Like,
yes. I will add, just going back to the legacy, the part of like being intentional. Not everybody knows how to do that yet, right? Not everybody may have that initially in them, or just like, okay, where do I start? Or I've been on just this like flow, right? I didn't have a direction. I've been going with the flow for so long, but I'm seeing how it's impacted my family. I'll make a different choice. So I sit on the board of an organization called Legacy Makers, and they do just that. They're trying to help families identify and empower them and equip them to create a plan, a legacy map, and then, continue to encourage them on that process with the hope of like impacting families. And it's not like should be your legacy. It's like, just figure out what your legacy is, given the two of you at the top, and impact generations to come. And so that has just been like a blessing. But date night, we had to have a conversation early on about the difference between date night and like a work meeting. This is not a meeting.
Yeah.
Or we go to a conference and he was like, we were on vacation. I'm like, no, that was a work conference. That was not a vacation. That was not a break.
Yeah.
So what would that look like for us?
I think usually it is kind of like either a movie or even playing video games together. And then lately it's been there's lots of different events that we need to go to. So even after an event, finding some time, or within an event between a conference, finding some time that we can hang out together without like having to speak to a bunch of people or stuff like that. Since we already have kind of like the babysitting locked in for conferences or events and stuff like that. So kind of adding on time just for us.
Great.
That's awesome. All right. I want to put you on the spot here. What is the best fantasy or sci-fi movie you've seen in the last 5 years?
That is not yours.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if Mad Max Fury Road, it came out within the last 5 years, but Mad Max Fury Road, that was so fast.
It was fun.
Have you guys watched it?
I have. Yeah.
My goodness. I've watched that way too many times. I need to pay that. Whoever did the music for it, I need to give them some money, because I listened to that soundtrack on YouTube so much.
You are giving them money.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, they
Really?
deserve more. They did such a good job.
They deserve more. I love it.
Guys, we will start wrapping this up. But before we do that, I want to end with the same 4 questions that we ask all of our guests. And we'll start off with this. Who are 3 books, people, or places that inspire you?
So books, she was talking about the 4 agreements. I don't usually go back to listen. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I don't usually go back to listen to audiobooks, but that's one I've revisited maybe like 3 times just because it's so good. Another one is Chris Voss's Never Split the Difference. He was an FBI negotiator who wrote a book. Again, I went back and I listened to that, and it works. It worked, I think, like 9 out of 10 times. I was trying to think of times it has not worked. His negotiating skills.
How about with the kids?
It works. Even with the kids. We used it with the kids, and I'm teaching them how to negotiate too. So that's been so good. That's true. And then if you wanted to, like a fiction book that has really taught me pacing And what works really well, Max Brooks wrote a book called De-Evolution. And that is so good. It's just like the pacing and the character development are just enough to keep you intrigued and want to know what's going on, even though there's not action happening in every chapter.
Yeah. I mean, I'm coming in a season of like having read Buy Back Your Time and being with Dan Martell. So that obviously, and then the books he recommends from there. I really loved, I read Dante's Divine Comedy a couple years ago, and like seeing how everything in modern literature, in classic literature, and everything since like 1306 kind of goes back and reflects on that. That has been, that's just one that sticks with me. And I love classic literature, so that is a big one. And then
Pinocchio. Can we add in Pinocchio?
No,
that could be one
Pinocchio's
of mine.
so weird.
That could be one of mine.
I mean, I like it, but
you guys listen to it. Just listen to it for like 10 minutes. You're gonna be like, what? Everything I knew about that wooden boy has been a lie.
I'm gonna get my third one in.
Okay, your third one.
The Psycho-Cybernetics. That one was really good. I know exactly. You're like, what is happening here? It's a recommendation. It comes after Think and Grow Rich, and I really liked Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. But for me, kind of what I needed to like focus on, what I needed to hear is Psycho-Cybernetics. And it is a little bit fresh. I just finished it, but cybernetics is just like the wiring, the way things work. So it's like your brain. So it's how your brain works. So, that has been really interesting, and just like, it's like the Matrix, but not in terms of free your mind. Right. I know. Right. It's just, it outlines systematically and like physiologically what's happening in there, so you can start to like work whatever that's kind of like how he goes to bed thinking about his story. We can go to bed thinking about visualizing the things we want to do, have, and be. And then like our reticular activated attention system, our RAS, starts to like hone in on that. And so it's less woo, and just by like the grace of knowledge and development, we can understand more like how that works. So that one was a good one.
Yeah, I've been listening on different topics on neuroplasticity, and you go in thinking that it's a little bit woo-woo, and it's so not, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
So
I always go back to that part in like, I think it was the first Thor. It was like, oh, it's magic. I'm like, well, magic might just be what we call things we don't yet understand.
Correct.
Yeah. But that's not to say that it isn't magic or a miracle, but it's just that now it's like we have to understand the mechanics of it in order to legitimize it. Or like even in Four Agreements, what he says and how he say it is Toltec wisdom. But they knew the facts of what needed to be done and what to, how like impact your life. But they didn't have to go in there and tell you like what was happening in the neurology sense.
Yeah. Guys, how do you find peace?
A lot of it's like in prayer, and then also in working out. Like sometimes like if I feel like there's a lot on my mind, I can pray about it. Or if there's a lot on my mind, I can just destroy my body in such a way I'm just numb.
That's good.
That's the extreme of exhaust the body, tame your mind. Guys, this is like the intensity that I live with. I'm not. I'm like in the gray zone. I'm like a slow riser. This guy pops out of bed and he's like asking me deep questions like, how do we do this? Can you make this modification in the store? And I'm like,
she gets so mad.
Bro, she
gets so mad if I start
2
talking
seconds
business
for
first
murder.
thing in the morning.
My peace.
Your next plot.
Yeah, like there's a point of conflict. No, I would agree. I just like knowing the peace of like God is in control, he's sovereign, and I don't have to have control over that, brings such a peace that things are already there. And then also I would say I'm learning to enjoy the working out, but I really like hiking in nature. I saw a gray fox today, just skitter across the path, and like we were quiet and we can hear a brook that like kind of got smaller into like a little stream, like a trickle, and we were quiet and we can hear the woodpecker and like the little crickets and everything. And you're just like, if we're quiet, nature is so much louder around us, and the trees and the breeze, and that does bring me a lot of peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could go back to when you were first starting to build, what's one piece of advice you would whisper to yourself?
Go bigger. Go bigger, and like don't hold back. because I just made everything go quicker, faster, more, and have more fun with it.
Yeah, I think definitely too, like, there's been a big change in our business when we started selling direct to consumers besides just going through a distributor. Like, there's so much more, like, you can, they give you their email that way, right? Like, if they buy directly from you, they're filling out your form like, hey, so you have direct access to them. And then also cutting out the distributor. If you're your own distributor, you don't have to pay somebody like Amazon. Love Amazon, no shade, but you don't have to pay them a portion of your profit if you're selling direct. So I definitely would have told myself, like, earlier on, have a little bit more faith, go sell directly to consumer.
Yeah, that's good. Guys, we'll get you guys out of here on this. We like to say we learn, we share, we grow. What is one thing that you've learned recently that kind of made you just stop and breathe and see life a little differently?
You have to go again first?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
So learning, I feel like a lot of times when you approach a certain topic or subject, you're bringing all your past experiences with you. So I understand that, but I'm trying to see that in other people as well. So when I do get like a hateful comment or an email, I'm just thinking like, I wonder what happened to that person. They're bringing all this past trauma with them. Like, this really has nothing to do with me and them. It has all these like past experiences that they're bringing with them. So just trying to have some more grace and understanding and understand like, oh, this actually has nothing to do with you and I. This has everything to do with like things that have happened in your past or experiences that you're bringing with you. So not taking for goodness, right?
Don't take anything personal. Yeah, take nothing personally. I guess it would be that like our brains are wired for worrying. So like, why not worry for what the good that could come, and like being intentional about the direction we're going, because that's where we're going to go. If we don't know where we're going, we kind of just like meander through space, but have these big dreams, big plans, and be open to like including everybody along with it, because it makes it a lot more fun. And you never know like whose dream with your dream and vision can intersect, and like everybody can win. And I think that has been a big thing, because it felt like, oh, this person's winning. Oh, this person did this. Like, that's like, that could be it. Or I will never be able to achieve that. But like, maybe that's not what's my outcome looks so different. And coming from like a corporate space, it felt very like stifled, but being in an entrepreneur space amongst other entrepreneurs and having that community, it feels just so much more free.
Love that. Jynafer, Jonathan, thank you both so much for sharing with us, dressing up, and being incredible. If people want to get in touch with you, read some of what you have produced, where's the best place for them to do that?
I would say follow Jonathan's Instagram. It's author Jynafer Yanez. You can just search for it, because on there you'll be able to feel like what kind of book should I read, links to the film that we have online, update news on the next film, and all that kind of stuff. And then I kind of hang out there too, so it'll be easy to find you. Yeah, so Instagram for Jonathan.
Thank you. We'll link those.
Awesome. Guys, you've been amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Have an amazing Halloween.
You guys too.
Thanks so much for having us.
Fun.
Thanks for being part of the family today. If you want a closer look at our journey through real life, business, and all the wild adventures, follow us on Instagram at Our Family Invest. And for free resources to help you on your own path, head to ourfamilyinvest.com.
If you like this episode, send it to a friend. And if you're feeling extra generous, drop us a quick review. It really helps us grow this community. Thank you so much for being part of our family today. We really, truly appreciate you.